한도 기보숨 예람지 신비 냠렌제다 당한저 당나만저 개와치마 띠엔텔레야 하다미고파 띠엔 야고 토야담 안에 토바 제대다 개와치미기 띠엔텔라 띠네 아주 콜베 동아 타달레 저제 탈비고방 토야 안데야 랑 지보 좀 많이 bessim제 탐지게 된다야 아니 상여고방 토비치도 람냠내기 진비게 로정다데다 기호숨게 람리진바스 람림 람림바스 람기림바스 해지던 람림팅 디고마 주고래 디네자다 저게 람냠내기 진바스데다 소소기 로디 개위 초소 나제 야로야 곰제 로디 뭐 지게 냠nen제제 아주 직제고에서 사타바다 탐지용 고와 토고인서 되네 토고여 반자 되네게 냠nen제 다 될이야 안에 될라게 네 람된지게 기위신 지고거래스 지사다 기위신이 기부숨야 람지림비기 람차상 된 투견기 기위신인데라 안에 기위신이 초도 교바 안에 될 생이대 된 바시간에 고거래스네 기위신이 생이된 시고거래서 당한도 되네야 가상 쉬어들이야 아니 되네게 라바 이런 뒤위기 추림열에 배냠래대 땜바 아니 딩이지 라바 아니 셔르게 라바 아니 지게 룽기 연된 유튜버다 인디 마제 안 동방이 되베 셔럽 유래 땜바지 고거래 세상에서 가상 되네고 쉬어와.
Good morning. So we're looking at the trainings that are associated with a practitioner of the three scopes. We will be soon looking at those particular trainings, but they lead to the attainment of specific goals. Those associated with the initial capacity lead to the attainment of a good rebirth as a human or God. Those trainings associated with the intermediate scope leads to the attainment of liberation from the sufferings of samsara in its entirety. And those trainings associated with the greater scope lead to the attainment of enlightenment, of Buddhahood itself. So in our text, the middle length graduated stages of the path to enlightenment, one engages in this text, this Mahayana text, hopefully with a Mahayana motivation, with the motivation to attain enlightenment. And enlightenment, as with all spiritual goals, is attained through engaging in an extensive process of training one's mind through meditation based on knowledge. So to gather the knowledge, as well as skill in how to integrate that knowledge into one's very mind, one needs to, it's indispensable to rely on a qualified teacher. So therefore, even before one gets into the various stages of training associated with the three scopes, the qualities of a Mahayana spiritual teacher are presented. And last night we continue to look at these, and we looked at in total we've looked at the first three, which are to do with the three higher trainings, those of the higher training in ethics, in concentration, and in wisdom. Thereafter, we also looked at the quality of having superior qualities that surpass the student, rich in scriptures, so having a wealth of scriptural knowledge, as well as having a thorough knowledge of reality, or having realized emptiness. So these are the six qualities we've looked at thus far.
Puchung wes damba namgi lu yu senza na dela ni nga yar tawa yin sungwa dangs.
Now turning to the text, continuing where we concluded last night, so in the published text, it's at the top of page 34. Po Chungwa said, "When I hear the accounts of holy beings, I hold them in esteem."
Lama Puchungi Karusomba Lamna Damba Namgi Luyu Senza Na Siduda Kibu Damba Anechiki Laman Goma Namgi Ani Yundenda Niki Namdar Tang 데니기 두시네 르유세 두수니마 두수 제바레 데네세세 남다다 데니 르유파 진예 지호데 로네 녀요도 아네 데라 나 야르타와 tawa insido yar tawa insido desugi yendenda denige namda de nyenju kondu du su jebar de nyamne de jebar de su jebar sa du nyenyo de sosora delya ane yi chowa da anji an denige ngara denige chuna sanbege nyamne jigin sanbege dumbeje wada an du shene anjige jongson sa de yar tawa se de yar tawa se de ko yabu resha be yabu re kondu najin du shene 내야 되는 게 지긴 선배게 두시네 삼로 두시네 코 땅아래 사실 송거래 로제 남 제심에 건주 로유의 니셈바서로 로유의 남다 내용도 아니 건주의 되네된 냠는 제발에 두수 제발에 살 고요도 소속이 될래 이 초바 주하다 되네게 건주나 지수 일하다 건주되는 제발에 내냐 되는 지긴 선비게 삼로 코송어시 왔다 나 야다와 인세데
What Buchungwa is expressing here is that when he either reads biographies of past holy beings or he hears stories about them, accounts about them, this has a captivating impact on his mind. And from this, a deep respect and admiration for how these holy beings have lived their life and the qualities that they thereby attained arises in him. And this serves to encourage him to emulate their example, to try and live a life like they did.
다시 시안에 양아스 라마디 되네 나니 라제웨게 개보 되남라 미딘지 송바타라사.
The text continues. Tashi said, I take the old men at Redring as models.
난 도나로 지과로 시샤 된 다시 시안에 갈 송바라스네 나니스 라제웨 개보 되남라 시데 베네다 komba rajan kombe na shuti ke ta nyamlen nanghan ta lama kamba ta traba geshe kamba ro tin yorwa kengo teneke nyamlen je on desul ya jike ta je na ne mitin je ba yin sido konju ga ne nyamlen je do konju lobjong ga ne gom ga ne je konju nyamlen ga je ko shandal ya konju ge ne chen ya an chue she ya da tene pando ga ne je do din na xin ji ne ya mi ba da je konju ge je ba na xin ji mi ba da je ne ya do chen je ba yin sa je
The old men referred to are actually elders in the monastic community at the Redring monastery. So here Lama Tashi is saying he looks to them as his examples, to these geshes and senior monks, to see how they have lived their lives in order to give rise to the qualities that they have. So he looks to these geshes and senior monks to see how they have studied, as well as then how they cultivated that within their minds, how they are engaging in meditative practice, as well as then how they are expressing their qualities in terms of benefiting their community. And he takes them as role models that he strives to imitate.
미기 yardawa shikuyo sida yunde laba la su rangle yunde 지금 야가 유현디게리아 아니 미기 yardawa shikuyo ikuyo 다 제름치 송거로와데 yunde 미기 yardawa shikuyo 미기 yardawa 세리 권주기 바지 수수 yunde laba 딜 바다 신 권주기 yun데디게 바다 안치 yun데디게 따네 권주기 간에스 yun데 장샤 yun데 권주기를 yun데 간에 쉬어봐 아니 건조기 냠는 간에 쓰는 게 뭐도 따지네 소수이나 콘솔도 건조기 제수 나와나 하신진 한주기도 시 냠는 제 고고어에서 왔다 라바 윤대 라바라 미야다와스데 카미야다서도 양주기 가게 나래 지 건조기 간에 지기도 냠는 제단 간에 나 곰자단 간에 제 콘솔로 좀 간에 지 닌하신제 소수이나 건조나신 제토야니 도신 제 고래에서지 대시다 당보 부충와당 시 이제 다시 라마 건조기 송바나 된다 지발 다시 이름제 두스체네다 제시엘마서 연대 라바데라 미기야다와지 고어에서 송거도 미기야도 고소세디
Having provided these two quotations, then Lama Tsongkhapa, having provided these two quotations as a proof, as a source, Lama Tsongkhapa then reiterates that this is his view as well in the next sentence. Accordingly, you need someone with more excellent qualities as a model to emulate. Here, Lama Tsongkhapa is advising us that where we see the good qualities in others, we should both take inspiration and strive to develop, to practice in the same way they have, to study in the way they did, and to integrate that through meditation. So we shouldn't just take inspiration in the good qualities of others, but we should strive to emulate them. So the meaning then is the same as above.
Delia Chado, some Deniki Maresio, that Deniki, Junju Chone, Dan, and the Junju Chiada, Deniki and Jig Chado Chiad, do sometime Yomartine, and did sometime Susugi, and device a gore, device of my Susugi Yamne Yagi to Maras, that Jig Junju Chiada, Chado Jimana, Conjugi Gumata, Junju Chiadu. Konzunashin Yamne Susugi Chis Tangmaro, Peta Yamne Chigmaro, Teza, Susugi Yamne Yagi to Mare, and the Susugi, and Yava Sagore, Chesantineza, Yude Susuli, Yude Yawa, Tilo Susugita, Kivishin in that in the Yushin Mayimba Susole, Yuden Yap La Chiyaga Yuken, Lamadan, Denigi, Ajike, Geshe Thubten Rabten, Denigi Suyoben, Desulia, and the Jike. Gorsore, Yundendelia, what is Jesu Irachiada, and the conjugate Java Najin Sosine, Della Petaje, didn't Yamne Chekores, the Nadisum, Dijab and also Yagi to Session.
Moreover, we can take this to mean that we should be focusing on the good qualities of others, not allowing our mind to dwell on their faults. As if we allow our mind to dwell on the faults of others, this leads to the rise of afflictions and therefore the accumulation of non-virtue. And this then prevents our spiritual development. Moreover, when we do dwell on the faults of others, we are quite likely to give rise to either pride or jealousy. These two are illustrations of afflictions that can arise. And the rise of afflictions doesn't only lead to the accumulation of non-virtue, but instead in a situation where we could be accumulating virtue, we could be taking inspiration in the good qualities of someone, we are not, and therefore we are losing an opportunity for spiritual growth, but are actually taking that same situation, and it's leading to us being restricted and limited in our development. And we should understand this also to not only refer to our spiritual teachers, but to other geshes and abbots and so forth, those to whom one would naturally look to as an example, and look to them, focus on their good qualities, don't dwell on the faults because of the rise of the afflictions and negativity that will follow from that, and rather take inspiration, leading to greater determination on your part.
And the
final sentence, nonetheless, those 6 qualities are the excellent qualities that you yourself attain.
ane dingi toba ni toba dene garso yunde labas jida odi dubo dida sosorangi chaba chimbe ki we shinyin chaba la di yunde da sosole yoku kores sosogi da sosogule di yoku kores or de jeza rangi tobe yunde no se ranglia dene ki yunde di potsu yoku kores.
The 10 qualities of a Mahayana spiritual teacher are divided into 2 parts. We've now covered that. The first part, which are the excellent qualities that you yourself attain. So these are the qualities associated firstly with the 3 higher trainings, being disciplined, calm, complete peace, as well as then a further 3 of superior qualities rich in scriptures and understanding suchness. So those 6 qualities are the first division of the 10, and they are excellent qualities that you yourself attain.
Then Lama ni shen jisu zimbi gi yunde no yunten tiesa.
And the remaining ones are excellent qualities for guiding others.
Jisna Lama di garsene ma ke pas ma ke bi yunde se di lam mano wa ma chu ba ya wu chi tin xin wa de ma ke ba se da. Dine zewa zewi gi xian lia an zewa yo ba da. Dine ane ji ge zun zhu yo ba. Dine gi an ji ya ne ya de ji xian che xie da dine gi ji de gang an yu de gang an che de le sui bu gong du ba chi gu wo le se. Jisna da ma ke ba da zewi yun da da. Ane zun zhu yun de ane sui bei niam le ni chi di da xian qi su xin ba su de xian lia pan do zhu ba la di gu wo le se. Jisna di rang le ya xian lia pan do zhu bi qi du an di su niam le qi gu wo le se. Jisna xian qi su xin bei yun de no se.
The excellent qualities for guiding others, the remaining 4, are being able to skillfully teach the complete and unmistaken path, having a loving and kind attitude towards one's students, joyous perseverance, and fourthly, patience.
Da de yang ji ge do se ne ya san yi jum ne yu song shi be do na le ya song shi ge de ka song yo se ne tub nam di pa chu yi mi chu xin zhe dong a cha ge mi se la ni yi do ba xian la po men de chun yi den ba den be zhou wa ju ru jie song ba da er xian la lam ma no wa de ne jie su jin ba ma do ba ane di pa chu chu so jar me do se.
And there's a sutra quotation. The sages do not cleanse bad actions with water. They do not remove the suffering of beings by hand. They do not graft their realizations on others. They liberate by teaching the truth of ultimate reality. As is expressed here, nothing beyond teaching others the path in an unmistaken manner and taking care of them can be done. One cannot cleanse the bad actions of another with water.
Tubnam dipa chu mi tu shen se de nga zu ge zhui ge ga so re jing zu du lo le ya ja hua re ne chu zhui xie da xie sang ma sui ya ro ne xie ro ka la sa san de sang ma sui xie ro ba on di na xin nga zu zhuo wa sem jing gi dipa sa xie bi ge nyo mo bi ri di ane sang ye chum ne de gi ma an jing me sui xie ka yo ma re sang zu jing nga zu ge ne ka la se wi ne de le 做过有那俺这个爬着去追寻喏，那的做过这么些个罗，你那现在呢，俺这对下举了，俺就牛毛把它对下到工作牛毛别的，但地方啥些把这个，都那是的，都把商业专门的了，是吧？商业那么几些的，商业那么几嘛，俺这个没有说些个该要嘛的是，是吧？都那么是的商业去。 那也蒙古对吧？商业专门的了，说白商业那么就是商业是说的，商业蒙古加商业，呀，商业那么来的商业开始给这个没有说的商业开始给有什么多天天开要买商业干的起呢，时候都现在没有说的要买的时候的。
So the sages we should rather understand as being the munis, referring to Buddhas. So the munis or the Buddhas do not cleanse bad actions with water. So whilst our clothes, when they're dirty, we can give them a good scrub, and in this way we can clean our clothes. Not even the Buddhas can do that to the minds of beings. Not even the Buddhas can wash away the past non-virtuous imprints, nor the afflictions from the continuum of beings. Buddhas cannot do this. And so that then is the meaning of this first line. The Buddhas, or the munis, do not cleanse, or cannot cleanse bad actions with water.
Gyudi and it never should marriage. 다 되네 조여 동아 차게 미셀라 세데 다 조어디게 안지 레다 녀모 왕게 냠바산 소소 동아 녀디 동아디 양상기 좀 된디게 안지게 마 차게 두시 세트야 말해서 다 차게 미셀라 세데 안 수볼이야 안지 부로 소게베네 부디파라베 텐 유셰네 안에 거 강하면 봐서야 다 수볼이야 지기 참마로 수되는 참마디파 진나즈도 라피가 수 되는지 안에 매가서네 동아디를 세야지 여러 와라베 세야 여러 와당도 어디나 신진에 안 라피기 상여 좀 된디기도 전에 안 동아 마주기라 지기 나 사주 레기 제부 동아용도 동아드파 상이 차게 되는지도 파 매가서야는 디기 주도 되네요 말해서다.
So the first line then is stating that the Buddhas cannot wash away the afflictions and their seeds from the continuum of beings. And the second line is saying, nor can the Buddhas remove the suffering of beings with their hands. So in a way, for example, like how we would remove an insect that was crawling on our body, we can remove that with our hands. But a Buddha cannot remove the suffering of beings in that way.
donala garasungora sene pene joa semje kyorong jugi samnda lega kha ma che ba che kyorong jula dunga nyoya gi dibedi gi ane sanji gi kyorong za kaya ma che ba che de chene ane sanji gi du chene dibed dunga gyu ya gyu nyo mo ba dibedi gi sanji me ba so tu gre sene di so tu ya ma de je dan ane dunga dibi wang ge jebu dunga nyoya de ya 소수게 냠는 가야 섬는 가마다 가야 맞게 받치네 안 산지기 용치는 안파 즉 매가 수투 그래서네 대한 수투예요 말해제다 가지래 소수기 동아 연주디 안 소수 가야 맞게 받제 산지기 매가 수투고 말해 소소의 뇨위 동아디기 동아 디베티브 동아 뇨야데 동아데야 소수게 탑시 가야 맞게 받제 매가서야 탑람 가야 맞게 받제 되면 산지기 도시네 매가 수투야 말했어. 그래서 상기에 세대 semje 동안을 자야다. 다위 다디게 동안다 semje 탐제라 디기든 줍 되비게 제와다 제와 인지 첨보다 제와다 시우죠르데 이네 가사 소소라가 가야 맞게 받친 상기기 근데 지게 동아의 규디게 매가 수투고 말해. 안에 동아기 규기 제보 동아디게 상기기 매가 수투고 말해 제르다. 더나님보 디레도
In these two lines, an important point is being made, because all too often we turn to others to resolve our problems that abide within us. But to really free ourselves from suffering, this is something we ourselves have to do. Whilst on the one hand, we can recognize that the Buddhas have incredible love and compassion for us. They are unable to remove our suffering, nor its causes. They cannot do that for us. So it's up to us to deal with our suffering and its causes. We can't look to the Buddhas. We can't look to even the Buddhas to resolve our suffering, to eradicate our suffering, nor its causes. So this is the essence of what is presented here.
지산 보민데 스도다 다 결혼주기 마싱비 연된디다 신고 연된디 베네 람줄에 계야세다 안지게 동반이 도와세다 장시심줄에 계야세다 되네기 타르비기 연된 최담주 지게 타르바세다 최담주 원스도베 타르신비 이시에세다 대소 결혼주 가야 맞이바 제제 네파 네규로 요겐디 결혼주 팔 때제네 아니 결혼주 되네기 연된 전부 차디 디기 주해도 용 말해 제산 결혼주라 디기 내갑기 디기 이나다 타르도게 되와 디기 타르바다 탐지기 보고 봐야 돼 대소 이냐 아니 결혼주기 직지에 고르마 결혼주 가야 맞이바지 네규기 연된 똑바디게 파 디기 결혼주야 바제신 결혼주 디기 주게 베 디기 주야디 용토그르베신 디아요요 말했더니요 말해서 니게 또 봐셔라 보면 돼서.
The third line, they do not graft the realizations on others. So Buddhas too, they cannot transfer their realizations to us. They cannot give us their good qualities, nor can they bestow happiness upon us. So they cannot bestow temporary happiness, nor its causes, nor can they bestow ultimate happiness, nor its causes. They cannot give us their realization of definite emergence. They cannot bestow their love and compassion, the realizations of love and compassion upon us. They cannot transfer their wisdom that realizes emptiness to us. So again, despite Buddhas being perfected beings, they not only cannot remove our suffering, nor its causes, they also cannot give us the causes for lasting happiness, nor their own good qualities.
Dunga de se gore tiki tu gore stingi dewa di gedi na dewa ni dewa tu yung gores chano tu gores chezan kanga se de dunga se de zawa kine meba so gores chezan meba so ba di ani kyong jugi pa ji nyamlen je kyong jugi ji kale japche du chene gom jap nyamlen je du cheba ani meba so tu gur ma do kyong za ga ya ma je ba che ani 지게 상계다 제 자주 선바다 제수기 경험을 제와다 배 제와 인지대강 지동아 드라나 선바 디기템나 제와 요르데 이내 경험주기 냠는 가야 맞이베이나 경험주 동아요 유 녀모바 디바디게 상지기 매바 수투 말에 경험주 요 동아디게나 상이 매바 수투 말에 제사 경험주를 마신베 연된디게나 상이 파 경험주를 규를 유디겐데 연 상계를 연된报道 매바 요르데 디 경험을 제가 하야 돼야 말 제세는 아니 경험을 연된 야보여봐도 쇠투야마 디기 침보여봐도 쇠투 말에스 제사다 간제래 경험을 동안 세야다 디기 두고 두예게 되어여봐는 경험을 배주시는 냠는 제고그래서 경험을 즉 배주 제고그래서 저 나단이 뭐디 숨고도
These three lines are greatly important because they serve to make it very clear to us that our mind is our own responsibility. We each have the responsibility to develop and transform our own mind. No matter how great a being you may be in the presence of, even if they are a Buddha, they cannot remove one's suffering with their hands. They cannot wash away our non-virtue. They cannot bestow their good qualities upon us. So whilst all of us wants to be free from suffering and its causes, and we all want to cultivate good qualities within us, qualities such as love and compassion and wisdom, the causes for happiness, despite being perfected beings, the Buddhas cannot do this for us. This is our responsibility. Our mind, the quality of our own mind is our responsibility. But we have seeds and imprints of these good qualities. So therefore, by making great effort, by striving diligently, we can cultivate these seeds, strengthen them, become more habituated to them, and thereby we all have the capacity to radically transform our minds.
직전 아산바다 동안다 전화 선비게 잠바다 제와 슈슈레 진짜 되는 인자다 되니게 상계 이 경우도 가야 맞지고 동화세야단 디기두에 탑람 매반다 나 상계기 심지야 판도 간의 시그리에서는 다도서래 춘이 덴바덴비 조와제스 제사다 디상계 인이 경우들에 판도지대 되는 시그리 에서지 송거로 춘이 덴바덴비 조와제스야디 바리시그리에서는 다 경우들 양이 탑람 띵기리스 경주야 농화세기 세게 탑람 디기주의 탑람 띵기리스 제사다 네 춘이 덴바 덴비 조와제스 데네게 탑람 땡제 아니 고위 동안에 조와제바다 땡기대와 탈바다 탐지kim바 도바제베게 아니 고방랴 토바디 데누두스네 상예게 두스네 로바체 투그레스 제 투그레마도 제 경주 가에 마치바나 디용 말레스 제상 네 경주야 탑람 땡 냠레제 림바투스 제월 동화세 냠레 데니세 오래 삼라 데니스 땅 곰 데니스 자오래 디기 주위에게 탈바톰나 디기 람 냠레 데니 곰고래 데니 상지고 바 토바 람 냠레 고 데니 곰보래 곰고래서 냠레 람니 냠레니 림바티게 파 땡제 네 경험을 두스네 레제 아니 kyaran zuki dus gom juje, gom nyamne jeje, dusen tarbata tamji kime gobalaya, and drova zigres, ni dusen robachi tugres, pandoji tugres, ungola.
The fourth line then serves to make it very clear that these perfected beings though, can help us. It's not that they despite having the wish, there's nothing they can do for us. They can help us. But it's a dependent relationship that we have to make great effort ourselves. But the roles the Buddhas play is in the fourth line. The Buddhas liberate by teaching the truth of ultimate reality. So the way the Buddhas do help us is they teach us the complete and unmistaken path that leads to liberation and enlightenment. So much more broader than the translation states of merely ultimate reality, but it's much broader than that. They teach the complete and unmistaken path to liberation and enlightenment. And in this process of teaching is not just a mere presentation of facts, but the process of teaching is a process of guiding the students in how to cultivate the wisdom, realizing emptiness, and bodhicitta. But how to develop those, it's not just those steps, it's all those preceding steps, the trainings associated with the beings of the varying scopes. And in thereby, the Buddhas will train one in how to develop the trainings in the correct sequence, so that one starts with the trainings that gives one greater focus and strength of mind, so that one can develop the qualities that come thereafter because of the requirement to train in a particular sequence in order to achieve actual liberation.
ane chigi jimbe nyamla chaya, suibe nyamla chaya da tu sungurwa. Ndi na xin a zu kowa le zhe tarbe toya toba la tablam, ane chigi kowa le kowi ki gyuen toya da, gyuen da dele tarbe tardo ki, ane nge zhung samla gomgu re saya da. Ane jimba da churin dame ba tobe shira gomba le dine tarba togu re saya da. Tanya sanji gobang toba na diga le ya, ane shen semje tamje le ya, ane chigi jambokomiyada, ninjiyokom, dene ane simja tamchi dungala trawa de ngay chigi sibi lasam gomgore, dene jine simja tamchi sanyo gobang tobar shio sibi janshu sim gomgore, dene janshu sim diyo gunne langbe tohne, dene jimbe nyamna, tsure nyamna, sube nyamna, zunre nyamna, dene an dame ba tobe shirab, tongba yi tobe shirab gom jine, ane kor dus jine nyamna cheba ina, ane sanyo gobang top tugure, sadi, da sanyi ki ngāngzō tablam nyamne rinpa du sōng, dāni ngāngzō ki di bēzō shēpa ina, dā dēla dēna ngāngzō ki di sāngye dā kōpa tōp tūgurī sīdi, dā dēne zādā mā sōnghen lamdōn jī, hēn lē lamdōn jī, sōsō di jēpa la dēne di nyamne sōsō ki, dā di tōsam jī na sōsō gōm jab, di gōmba la dēne ane ngāngzō ki tarpa tamchī ki mō kōpa tōgurī sīdi, dēne zā dēn jī, rewa chōngwa, 유다 긴 망보지 초지 두시는 공발에 때네 탈바 다 탐지기 보고 토고를 마도 규기에 가라 마템바 소소라라 가야 제 먹어봐지 지기 용어지는 바 지게 동아세야 단 디유튜브 투야디 요 말에 에세지
The Buddhas teach suffering beings the correct stages of training so as to firstly ensure they attain a good rebirth as a human or God. And then with such a basis, they guide beings to continue their development, progressing towards liberation and enlightenment. So in order to attain a good rebirth, the Buddhas will guide beings to cultivate the causes that will lead to a good rebirth and abandon the causes that will lead to falling into the lower realms. So they'll guide beings to cultivate ethics, generosity, patience and joyous perseverance, to create all the conducive causes to attain an excellent rebirth. when the practitioner has, or rather, upon that basis, the Buddhas will then also guide beings in how to attain liberation from samsara in its entirety. So this will involve introducing some new practices, such as reflecting on the sufferings of samsara in their entirety, but it will also involve taking the foundational meditations of those 4 practices of ethics, generosity, patience, and joyous perseverance, taking them and deepening them now, as the goal has shifted to one of liberation. And they'll add additional practices such as concentration and wisdom. And upon this basis, or independence on this basis, the Buddhas will then guide their students to strive for the highest goal, the supreme goal of enlightenment. And here again, they'll introduce some new practices, such as love and compassion, bodhicitta itself, as well as deepening the practices, the foundational practices that have already been well developed. Again, these are those 6 of generosity, ethics, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. So thereby, how the Buddhas help beings is by training them in the correct and complete sequence of trainings, whereby the mind starts to develop a stronger focus on a goal beyond this life and a deeper determination. And as the mind becomes broader as well as more far-sighted, the Buddhas can guide the beings to develop themselves ever more deeply. But this is a process of dependency, where the student's development is dependent on the Buddhas, but how much how effectively the student can be guided is dependent on their own development too. So there's this 2-way process of dependency. Moreover, all initial stages of training are the cause in dependence on which the subtler, the deeper levels of training will come. So therefore, the higher levels come about in dependence on the prior level of training, hence a correct and complete sequence of trainings that the students are guided in. Here then, there are a few key points, one of which is the dependency of the training in the correct sequence and the dependency between teacher and student.
나 상지게 되네게 송디게 저게 삼다나 당고 그래서 의니서로 아직 차기도 와 그래서네 당아주게 파마디 부울야 제와 가제다 잠니제 소수게 부울야 직제와 메하수지요 말하다 부울 제와 쉬어때 이내나다 부디 연대 마신 바디 힘벌서야다 안지게 연대 약고 차야 돼 소소 파마디 지금 롭종 가자 약고 여배네 부디 롭종 마치바지 소수게 파마디 네 부디 연대 약고 롭종 약고 차도야 가민도와 제디 메디는 파미기 부울야 랍라당 거로바다 랍라당 제파 장주고 거로바다 이제 제자 파미게 탑람 되고 파커 랍 장배나 고 연된 차기래 신기래 되는 신은 마신비 강아세 연된 신기래 선비게 파미게디 맞아 하고 거랑 아주 의미스러워 봐 되네 자 파미게고 랍라당지 이 롭종 제주고 거로바 제가 딘 제발 때네 뭐바나 지 가시 롭종 야고 퇴 베게라 침 차야다 시부지 캬바 차야다 되네 용고로 와다네 대소 아주 지딘비를 아주 지소나라 베제 땅을 라렌다 용의니스로 봐 라렌다 거로 봐 제가 상지기 아주게 셈기토네 냠는 제저 곰제 냠는 제 동화세디가 제가 상지를 파마라 부르랑 부제와 요바나 상지를 셈지 탐지를 제와 슈주어 때 파미게 연된 부를 때 매바나 상지 연된 부를 때 매바래 제가 파미 부르랍다 땅하신 상지게 람된제 상지 호롱 디게인로셰 팔랍근 기행제 안 콘주 셈젤이야 장주 곰주 되네야 연된 쳐보자 타바탐지 김고 그래서 때문에 아주 지속이 좋다다 가서 람루저도 정아주 냠용 라처여 바디 산유소에 왜니서 당원이라 덴바레 셈뱅아주 이초야다 소소 셈이야 라처야지 지기여바지 아주 두 삼다나 지된데래도 하데
Once again, the Buddhist approach matches entirely with how we live in our society. So just like the Buddhas have deep love for all beings and will do whatever they possibly can for beings, to help beings. But just like that, how much the Buddhists can help is dependent on the receptiveness of the student, the attitude of the student. So too is the situation in one's home. So parents have a deep, deep love for their children, wanting the very best for their children. And therefore they will, starting at a young age, try to help their children develop an inquiring mind, an inquisitive mind, try to encourage them to play in a way that develops good qualities in them. And when it comes time for education, they will encourage the children to make a success of their education. They will ensure that the children go to school, that they don't accept any excuses to miss school, and they will encourage their children to study well. And where they can, they may even provide extra support, extra classes to help their children grow and develop good qualities within them. But despite the best wishes of the parents and the best efforts of the parents, there is a dependency from the side of the children. If from the side of the children, they are not interested, they refuse to listen to good advice, they insist that they know better, that they know the correct way forward, at the end of the day, the parents are a little bit helpless. But on the other hand, if their children listen well to their advice, apply themselves diligently, they will prove themselves to be outstanding. They'll develop incredible qualities within themselves. But there is this relationship of two-way dependency here, that it can't all come from only one side.
Andine zana chunyi demba tembe jowa gyose chunyi sida chunyi tongpa yu topiki an lam nyamli tongpa yu topiki dat lam nyamli rinpa da ane kunzup demba jam nye che chanshu simla sopa da parchun jimba tsurin sopa lo sonju yi nyamlin demba nyige nyamlin tenche ande nyamlin che pala kowa lo jowa zikiri esade ane chunyi demba tembe jowa gyose tongpa yu topiki ane topi nyamlen dam lamde nyamlen ba lamde sibda tempa shi namsha tempa set tempa shi le ba jana di gorwa an tempa ni la jana di ye je je tempa ni lamshi de dunga tempa to kunje tempa di ni jiga so manzo pangja yima ya bo ngo chue je denege ndi ba ye ke tablam de la an lam nyamlen de ba dia nyembo ndame ba to tongpa yi to be sherap chunyi tongpa yi to be sherap tenje nyamso len ju je andine kowa le jowa je ba da and tamji kempalya tarba tamji kemp ko mala ko ba ji go re se chunyi temba tembe jowa ju se chunyi se de chunyi tongpa yi to be donan di be lam nyamle rin ba da kunzu de ba lam ni be nyamle rin ba de ba ni nyamle rin ba tenje ne kowa le jowa ji re se ji ji yana chunyi temba tembe jowa ju se tongpa yi to be lam nyamle lamne tongpa yi to be lamden da kunzu ane lamni pachin tu nyamle la so ba de da di to cho da pangja andunga temba to kunju temba ni che temba shi namsha tenje ne ane kowa le jowa ji go re sa chi du shin da shen le ya pemba chutan du stu go re de chi jina ngi nyamle rimba tenje kyong so du shen jowa che de ngi phan tu go re chi san kyong so ga ma che ba chi du che be ngi ga chi tu ma re sa chi du song go ra da na.
Just to expand on the final words in the verse, that of they liberate by teaching the truth of ultimate reality. So the way we can interpret the truth of ultimate reality is it can either be a presentation. The Buddha's help by presenting the two truths, explaining conventional and ultimate reality, and thereby training beings in how to recognize that phenomena do not exist in the way they appear. They're empty of existing in the way they appear, but they are also merely labeled by mind. And this way, helping beings come to gain a realization of ultimate reality. It can also be understood as a presentation on the Four Noble Truths, because through relying on the Four Noble Truths, one will come to understand ultimate reality. One will come to understand the actual situation of samsara and its causes, but how phenomena abide in reality as well, and thereby gain liberation. So it can also be understood as a presentation of the Four Noble Truths, because that too leads to the realization of ultimate reality. And then thirdly, it can be understood as a present that Buddha's help by presenting the complete and unmistaken paths that lead to omniscience. So thereby it will be the trainings associated with all three scopes of practitioner, including the generation of bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness, and thereby coming to understand the truth of ultimate reality, which would here be that of ultimate bodhicitta, so the wisdom realizing emptiness and bodhicitta as well, and leading to the state of omniscience.
제 송바 따라선다 제름 지게서 제 송바 따라 셴라 람마노와 때네 예수 진바 마도바 디바 취초서 절매도 세대 제가 셴라 람마노와 때제 두젤마 안지 반냠링이 좀 만호와 좀 마주고 빼야고 야고시 파때 아니 예수 진바시도 두스는 냠는 제주 봐서 그러 예수만 건조게다 마tiên 건소 냠는 지교나 예수 진바로 와다 다이나 마tiên 바이나 냠는 맞아바는 예수 진요 말이 예수 진바시다 예수 진바시는 말라메기 마 셰바나신 디젤이야 냠는 제 좋아 될 예수 진바시 그러 맞아 미지니엘 두고두고지라 코에 제레 파 좋아 될 예수 진바시 디나시 먼저 라미게 냠는 바도스 제월은 된된 제월 마 송바니 송바 다가랑 진딘 나신 제라메 송바나지 냠는 제바 있나 제수 진바하지 제자 람마노와 때네 제수 진바 되네 제수 진데 아니 그 타바 탐지기 먹고 봐 톱토그레스 제자 내 마도바 람 제수 마덴 바이네요 온고도 냠는 제신 말에 타바 탐지기 보고 톱토고 말에 마템바 이나양 코로도 냠을 마제바이나 타바 탐지기 먹고 톱투고 말에 제자다 말 람데 냠링이 되면 만어와지 때 코로주게디 땜바나신지 냠에 약고 제바이나 되는 타바 탐지기 먹고 톱투고 그래 마도 네 셴디바 취주하다 안지 차게 세와라 소바 되지고만 나송바 나신 되는 지가 말에 해야지.
Then Lama Tsongkhapa briefly summarizes the meaning of the sutra quotation. As is expressed here, nothing beyond teaching others the path in an unmistaken manner and taking care of them can be done. One cannot cleanse the bad actions of another with water. The way that we should understand this this expression, taking care of them, is that the way the Buddhas will take care of us is by guiding us in how to cultivate their teachings within oneself and encouraging us to do so, encouraging us as living as an example, encouraging us through their way of communicating and so forth. Because merely imparting knowledge, whilst important in that imprints are gained, it alone does not lead to the mind changing. Only in direct proportion to the effort that is put in and the strength of the karmic seeds one has gathered, will mental transformation come about. So the way the Buddhas take care of us is by presenting the unmistaken path, which includes the repeated exhortation for us to take responsibility for our own mind, and thereby encouraging us to diligently strive to develop good qualities and abandon all faults, because this is indispensable to bring about spiritual transformation.
라브레기엔디게 바 유까지 야고슬라베네 메니 장안디게 야고마자나 마자바네 안나메다 샤제나 부호랑 롭자고 차이기네 메도와 안 부들려 장되게 되냐 dimba슈지 야고 장을 장베네 라펜데 야고라 마신 바체 아 야고 말라바다 라펜지 메베네 양 보도 연전 차스 가요 말봐 다 랍간디에 약보치 랍 되네 장한디게 배주시 전주시 바 장외나 아니 롭션의 신고를 받아 변능한 지소 조상을 다가라 안디 나신제 다좀 산지마 람 마노와제 약보치 템바이나 로마디기 냠레 약보 제바인 마제바이나 마템바이나 로마 이야기해줘야매 다 로마델이야 냠는제 돈이 dumba 슈우치 약보치 배주셔야지 여바 제바이나 땡겐디기 다다 템마 통보다 마노 지 노트르 시제바다 되네 약보 마템바이나 이야기해줘야매 그봐 다지 디나신다 라메기 람마노와데 파 약보치 마테 다 로메디야 델이야 템바나 배주 냠는 제바이나 되네 이야기해줘야 봐지 제가 파电下的在电读书电呢那也就做好采购吧在这上那么诺啊电呢技术进步呢技术进步呢也就做过技术嘛进步呢也就做嘛的是的技术进步嘛多是的技术进步嘛进步呢做嘛的是了
So I hope that it's clear the dependent relationship between ourselves and the Buddhas. Because just like for a pupil to be successful at school, they require both from their side a deep curiosity, a wish to learn, a wish to grow and develop their own knowledge, as well as they need teachers who are educated and can present them the curriculum in a way that is unmistaken, and they can present it in a way that brings inspiration to the students, where they guide their students, helping them through the difficult parts and encouraging them to deepen their knowledge. So there is this two-way dependency, and so too with our spiritual development. One requires a teacher who's able to present the complete and unmistaken path. If errors are made in the presentation, then at best this won't benefit. At worst, it may harm, sending students in a mistaken direction. Moreover, the teacher, through compassionate care, must guide the students in how to cultivate what is being taught within their minds, encouraging them, setting an example. But for this relationship to be successful, from the student side, there is also a requirement that they need to have an open and receptive attitude, they be open-minded, they need to be curious and interested and think for themselves, use their reasoning. In this way, with the student striving and being receptive, and the teacher also making effort and guiding, then good results will follow.
지사다 심제 동안에 자고도 심베 삼가다 심제 동안에 자야데 가는스 자고래 디기 띵이 디기디 컨솔이야 가는스 두고라 삼메도 나 컨솔이야 랍제 제고도 지제데 디기 주에 디기 요에 유 냠네 림바드 파 컨솔 랍 아니 냠는 때 아니 동화 요에 유 녀모 보이게 냠보드 파 땡제 파 세네 디기 두고도 삼베게 삼르디 데 탑람 디마도 셰 탑람 샨다 니고 말와 띵이 되어 주에다 동아시아 탑람 지선 디 통로도 아니 가서 건설에 디기 주비에기 탑람 띵야다 동아게 유녀모 베님보 다음에 뭐 또비게 님보 띵제 되네게 건설이야 랍 건설이야 냠수 렌주고도 지선 되네 라바라 다 소소리야 랍 투에게 누버 두면다 담 따여도 다된 알디 연대 민도 대상아 건설디 라고도 대제 인가 신고도 대신야리야 능에 지기 산주고 보면은 탑 민도 셈베게 되네 전주 셈제기 셈슈디도 신의 용고를 제르와다 되네기 신할이야 판바 두고도 되네 판바 두브나데 지하고 제 되네기 셈슈디 레어도 제사 당에 디네기 제기 탑람데 간에 두스데 당알 디쟁기 튕기는 상민도 제사디 튕긴디 셰발라 당아 산요고 뭐 토고 셈베기 되니 전주 셈디 냠내린 바 이거레스 디자 디네 자다 디셈줄레 세베 전주 셈디 귤레기 세베체라 되니 산요고 뭐 토야래야 아니 냠내디 파신 중에 냠내디진 바지 두스는 냠내 제거야디 제용으로 와 디네기 이제 견살 마선데 대대 산요 송바다 지바리도와 제자다 셈징이 된제라 펜버도 간에 주고 선배 섬다데 제 칼라다 둘로다 되서 제바 좀 이고 땡기 되어 주투야다 땡기 동화 세트에 매르와다 매도다 코 탑로 약쇼데 가서 콜이야 디기 주예기 규마사 파 람된제 코 냠소 렌주 동화 매버서 윤년보 파 람된제 태오 콜로 곰주제 안코 답 동화 다들 주야된 디기트 투구도스 데네 강아세 투구도스 제상이 디제발라 연대된 가랑로 고우도스 제사디 인장이디 사요고바 토바치긴 세베 찬슈셈기야디 데네시 냠레 제리 용고레 제레
There are two ways to take this the verse. The first is the way that has been presented, which is to make it abundantly clear that the greatest of beings cannot do the work for us. We ourselves have to. Our freedom from suffering, our happiness is dependent on our own endeavors. The second way to take this verse, which would be built on one's spiritual development, is for those who already have a good understanding of suffering and its causes, happiness and its causes, and are applying themselves to cultivate paths within themselves. When compassion for the suffering of others arises within them, such people will have a deeper understanding of why beings are suffering. Compassion will arise and they'll want to help others. They'll see beings suffering in a wide variety of ways. But because of their own spiritual development, they won't just be seeing the visual, the obvious physical suffering, but they'll understand the mental suffering that beings experience by the mere arisal and dominance of afflictions. So for such practitioners, when compassion arises, wishing may others be freed of suffering, they will immediately, the wish of compassion will be, may others be freed of their afflictions and their non-virtuous imprints, because they know these are the causes of suffering. What is visible, what is observable, these are just the manifestations of ripening imprints. So here, a more developed practitioner, when love and compassion arises within them towards others, they'll want others to be freed of suffering and its causes. And how to free others from suffering and their causes is clearly presented in this verse. The only way to help others is not through helping them, or the only way to help others to become actually completely freed of suffering is not through material support. Whilst material support is needed and is good to do, what beings really need is, as expressed in the final line, they need to be guided in what are the causes of suffering and how to abandon them, and what are the causes of happiness and how to cultivate them. This really is what beings need. And such guides are indispensable. And when one gives rise to help others in this way, one will also have the self-awareness that one right now is quite limited, quite restricted in one's capacity. If one oneself hasn't overcome the coarser levels of the afflictions, it's difficult to guide others to overcome something that you yourself hasn't, because this will be quite clear that you are not talking from experience. You are not talking from someone who knows that this is possible from your own experience. So thereby, a deeper determination will arise within oneself. I have to transform my own mind so I can really help others, that I can be the spiritual friend that they need, that I can become someone who can give guidance based on knowledge and experience, and I can live in accordance with this guidance. I need to become that person. So this is where a deeper determination to transform one's own mind grows. And then one is engaging in hearing teachings, meditating on those teachings with a sincere determination to benefit others. So this then is the deeper way that we can relate to this verse.
That is on the Jisolaya, the Araba, Benanga, Jisolo John of Chimene, Jama, Shanaya, the Ansi Lapo, Ansi Hinji, Lapje, Lapkin, Chi or somebody, Soso Ansi Changura, Shanlia, Lavialia, Soso Changura, Shanlia, Tendix Labo, some Sosuki Tendi Changura, Dinashin, Ganda Kaina, Sosuki, Mohombane, Chilob John Ganda Kaina, Deda Dingi, Lavi, Shanlia, Labgin, Sempiki, Chik Samus, Simshu Chimbo Chiobana, Ranigi di. 강랑 알라베게 롭존티 소소게 장고고르와 제상 소소게 장제 셴라고르와 어디나신다 아 저기 셴게 동아세야단 디기르게 람든 냠는 제발라 셴리아 두스제발라 소소게 두스네 냠는 제고고레야사지 너나니 뭐디르와다.
We can see how this actually plays out in society. So if you think of a high school pupil who has the wish to become a school teacher, they won't graduate from high school and say, well, now I've studied, say, maths for 12 years, now I can become a school teacher. They know they need to develop their understanding more deeply before they can teach to others. They need to be able to do much more than represent what is in the textbooks. They need a deeper understanding before they can help others. So they go on to university, study further, and then they can help school pupils. So too, here, with the way to relate to this verse, we need to transform ourselves so that we can be of ever more meaningful help to others.
Andadine della Chushiles and the Jida Chushi de Shinjisu Zimbigin de Sadida, Chushi de Massimorua, Chushile, Tadina Nambo Makebani, Jidere Jivi Rimbala, Keshin, Dun, Duju Lola, and Lola, Kewala, so Wasan. Jinada, and the so Wasach.
Continuing in the text, among the four properties related to this, so this then is the four further qualities of a spiritual teacher, those which are required for guiding others. So we saw just above the quotation, the remaining ones are excellent qualities for guiding others. So now we're coming to those remaining ones. Among the four properties related to this, eloquent means experienced in the stages of guidance and skilled at conveying the meaning to the minds of those to be tamed.
Keshing, see the China, Lam Yamle Rimba Tembadella, Yabo Hakowash, Kawash Kugure, Hakowash, did Daner Hamoana, Dene Yabo Lapsing Marwa, Chesa, Makeba said, K. Jiwa Lam Rimba, say Jiteri Jiwi Rimba Jiwa said, Nambo di Yamlenchi, didn't Yiban do see Argela Dialibra, Denigi Jiwa la Keshing. That Duju Lola, Jawala, Soa said, Denigi Pa. Nimpa Yahu Tianxing was a Tianbig Duandadi, Dujipa Lolipa, Yamsu Lenju, Yamsu Lenju Hores, just a Yamsu Lenju, the Niggy Yamsu Lenju Consula, Topa Geshu Hores, D and Pa Chia de Makeva Sigres, Makepi in the Sade.
So whilst the quality of a Mahayana spiritual teacher is that of eloquence, we can see from Lama Tsongkhapa's explanation, it's far more than just being an eloquent speaker or a charismatic speaker. In fact, that's quite a secondary aspect of this quality. So we see here that it means being experienced in the stages of guidance and skilled at conveying the meaning to the minds of those to be tamed. So experience refers to they've cultivated these own qualities in their mind. And to have done that, behind the word experience, we will know they are knowledgeable. It's independence on one's knowledge that one gains experience, because independence on knowledge, one has a basis to integrate that knowledge within oneself and gain experience of what one is knowledgeable of. So therefore, when a teacher is eloquent, we can understand that the meaning is that they are both knowledgeable and experienced in the stages of guidance. And moreover, they are skilled at conveying the meaning to the minds of those to be tamed. So in other words, those students, or their students whose minds are now still unruly, or untamed, the teacher is able to convey not just the meaning of the text, but also how to put that into practice and encourage their students to put that into practice, to cultivate it in their minds, to try to ensure that the students don't merely gather intellectual knowledge, but they apply it to their minds and transform their minds. So this then is the meaning of eloquent. Then the next quality, I've lost my place, is that of loving. Loving means having a pure motivation to teach the Dharma, teaching out of compassion with regard for material gain or respect. So I just checked with Geshe, because this particular word translated here as loving is used in a broader sense. It's not the actual word for love. It's a very common word, but the meaning is compassion, but it includes love. But it's widely translated as we have here, as loving or loving kindness. But the meaning really is compassion, but compassion will include love.
ane chue sheba ina ne kunlo mada bare di ane pando yabu yung tu ma re jire karasane nyingur sosugi chue di she tam nyanda yabu chukume na ane jel shigmarwa da di nga tam nyanda chukume na sam shagirwa ya je chue she de nyingur ge samda soso nyingur yabu ra ge samda je anjigi chue sheba ne nyingu marana anjel shig marwa adadi tromajim algai ragmin sambe samta tu shurwa chesa denegi nyingu da tamnyanda da tu samta bena kuno denegi kuno samje cheshana shebena di kuno mata bara digi ne che modi shada yage rola barchi gure sada da dene kargo sene kuno da bajo denegi samla gae meba sosuge tamnyanda da nyingu da denegi samla gae meba che 바 제와랑체 심진 건도 동안 세 고도 매 남때 디바 시제 건도 강간에 세와 지긴 세베게 제와 제시 바 송고 그래세 메다버 니지 군에 나한테 심진 건도 동안 차도서 동안다 말한데 탑 민도와 디네상에 동안을 자야게 된다 건도 탑람데 디네기 네 시긴 셈데 도시 니지 군에 나제 쉐샤바 고고 그래세
The quality of loving then refers specifically to the pure motivation of the teacher. The motivation of the teacher should be free of any taint of self-interest, such as we see expressed here, without regard for material gain or respect. So the motivation should be free of any form of self-interest, but solely focused on the welfare of others. So in this way, pure. And so then the meaning of the word loving would be that the teacher would want to guide their students so that they become so that they develop themselves to attain freedom from suffering. So that's an expression of compassion. But within this expression of compassion will be the mind of love. In that, love is the wish for beings of lasting happiness, which is the result of being freed from suffering and its causes. So therefore the two come together. So that is the guiding motivation of the teacher, wanting their students to transform their minds to attain a state freed from suffering, a state of lasting happiness. And such a motivation will be a motivation that gives great strength and courage and determination to the teacher, because they want the very best for their students, or they want to guide their students to achieve their full potential. Now we come to a quotation. We need someone like Potawa who said to Chengawa, son of Lima, however many Dharma teachings I have given, not once have I expected appreciation, for there is no sentient being who does not deserve my care.
지상이 최 머신이야 최 근데 셰베네 미생기 지기바 지기 년고도 뛰어가를 되니 담바등이 수서 장전도 바티직 약벌당아 약고 중선백이 된데 삼는게 담마용스 월다 되니 담마용스 지자 년고 내시강 셰바니 담년다 년고 군년라지 되니 셰메 수월다 가제 판바바시 송바리에서 고고를 지잠 최지 셰 직제 대상의 최파 지마 최지상의 시제 두신 제바이네 두신의 미 략소티 자나게 략소 결혼 배하고래서다 배행한서 판도 친부 중소서 개진자 근데네기 두신 뛰어가 따야다 진신 소수가 어디 나 지게 나제제들 다그리 제바 오다가 야고 인지신 디샤선 비게 되네 어디 되네기 균에 제마용스
When Potawa called Chengawa son of Lima, this way of talking is an expression of closeness. So we can tell then that Potawa and Chengawa, they had a close relationship. So therefore, he and then he expressed to his students that when he teaches, he does so with a motivation that's free of self-interest, never expecting praise or even appreciation. His motivation is purely to benefit his students. And moreover, he recognizes the danger of the rise of pride and arrogance through if he were to long for praise or to respond inappropriately to praise.
Draw Nyamdaba Mimba Sidan draw Koala Kibi, Kowi, Semjan Ganachina, draw said the Koa big, Semjan Ganachina, Dungagi, Nardubachima, Dunga Medigan, Koa Bachi, Yomares, draw Nyamdaba, Meba Mimbe, Chizan Dunga in Nadeva, the Niki Dunga, Yediva Chayas, Chizan Chishia, but the Dunga than Dana, some by the Dunga Jagi, Tablam, Dunga Dana, Sempiki, there was some touch to Shevare, such soon were that.
This expression, for there is no sentient being who does not deserve my care. More literally, but this is okay, more literally it's saying that he he relates to students in this way because he recognized that every sentient being, every migrator, is bound in suffering. So with this recognition, he engages in teaching and guiding others, recognizing the pitiful state of sentient beings who are all bound in sorrow.
Denege songwa senda denege janya poda vedu sin songwa res songba jawa shi goba yimbar da sidi de jerim shi songwa jisan podo ge dene songba na shenje du sin de nyamlen chi ninga ju chheshi de kabla samlo dene na che nyamlen che hu gu ye sa che de da songba jawa shi goba yimbar da ji de samlo dene tang gu gu ba ja se re si gor da se re sa 제나 보도위에 송바 나신지 아주 최시비 갑라 삼로디 나신지 아주기 땅고 임발 제 세월 임발다세.
In the start of the sentence, we should rather change to mean we need to be like Potawa. So we have here we need someone like Potawa, but rather we should emulate Potawa. We should be like Potawa. So Lama Tsongkhapa here is saying that this is the example of how we should relate to others. It's essential in the teaching, in the context of being a teacher, but in general, this is how we should relate to others, not with self-interest, but with a sincere wish to benefit through understanding their pitiful situation of being bound in samsara.
Anzu shenlia chue shevi kabla ya kunlong liya sosui tam nyandra nyingur dinegi kunlong langchi shikyo mare shen semje tamje da korwa li ki chinche la ane korwe dunga ane chige kashe li dunga chewa kashe chunga je kanegi korwe dunga gi nar de pa ma do dinegi ma na ba je kanya yo mare chisa konsul liya dunga da chana sebi nyingji kunya langchi dungu wo re se dinegi dungu wo re se ngi dinegi dunba yin se de 송고로 어디 제가 단단히 보도 되지 제외 연den기다 개주로 제외 연den해야 돼 되는지 고거를 해야지 쉬쉬be 갑라 군롱어서.
So therefore this quality is directly associated, this quality of loving associated with the guiding motivation with which one should engage as a teacher, that keeping awareness of how sentient beings, whomever they are, as long as they are bound in samsara, they are suffering. And this understanding that leads to the arisal of love and compassion, that should be the motivation for the teacher and the motivation in all their interactions. And in this way, they'll relate to others all equally, because there will be absence of self-interest, thinking of what someone may do for them, but will rather have a deep and sincere tenderness towards all who they are interacting with, wanting to guide them to transform their minds and attain freedom from suffering. Then the third quality is diligent, means always delighting in helping others.
Isnada zunji sidi dini zunji gu yunden tenpa chi kuku ores, di chizan shen yu dun du bala, shen la fangzhu ru bala zunji chi kuku ores, chizan da shen yu dun la zhuwa tenpa ores, shen li ya, chigi lam nyamlingi rinpa tenpa li ya, kai shen zhu shen wane zhuwa chi kuku ores, ma do, di kai shen zhuwa mena ada di nyogu di jema chi, da di su mi do jema sida, shen li ya, du shen ne, chigi shen la penpa zhu tu ma res, dini yinza shen gi dini gi pa, lamden chege de da gaxing zhuxing wane dene yi samlo chi zhui zhuo chi gu re se dene yi ne gu ma de zhuo me na ane le lo le ngu ro che sa din an da de tu me jema sin tu xin an la zhuo che ne ko xian de pen xian le pen ba jia chi mo de zhu tu ma re se de zhan zun zhui gaxing zhuxing dian zhu 颠不出来是做颠簸了的，该不了有吧？这今年俺们上俺这个尊重的没吧的，今场面吧就，给第一呢，先俩咱们人把颠簸了呀，这个判断主要了，该行做行呢，我呢 Timbiki Zundri Timbuch Kugures. The Nigmene Shanlia did Jizan Shen Pendo to Yala and Jisimbat Yungures.
Yes. Fourth quality, diligence, is that of joyous perseverance. So joyous perseverance, then, is where one delights in virtue. And here, it's, as we see in Lama Tsongkhapa's explanation, it's specifically in relation to helping others. And because this is the context of the spiritual teacher, that he or she will take delight in guiding their students, in cultivating the paths of the Dharma within their continuum. And this joyous perseverance is something we have here always. So this states that the joyous perseverance needs to be consistent, not just when the mood takes the teacher, but they should be consistent in taking pleasure in guiding their students. And amongst the benefits of joyous perseverance is that it is the antidote to minds which limit the expression of the teacher's qualities to their students, minds such as laziness or procrastination. Because when one delights in virtue, delights in this context, in guiding and teaching one's students, one will not procrastinate and say, not today, sometime in the future. Well, one will not just say, oh, I'm not in the mood. Rather, one will through taking pleasure in helping others, one will always be there for them, wanting to guide them. The final, the 10th quality, never disheartened, means never tiring of explaining things over and rather bearing the hardships of teaching.
Na gyowa pangpa sayadi nga zuge yane yangdo chebe mingawa de sayade da nga zuge da chikchwe ba shenliwa yane yando sheya da dino chidu an jiga gangan ro chiya de gangan kaya da dinga kale kakdo dinegi da chi shashagin seba dine memba chikukuri eze jizan gangan yungurewa da gangan yode kale ya an dele ya soba kum tuba chuk soba gangan liya soya tuba chikukuri jizan mingawa de chebe kachi soba sheya liya 지게 반에 오다디니게 갈래 가지 가능이 되바 시긴 선배게 되니게 제발 쇠바지고 그래서 진짜 되니 자다 쇠밭 메나 쇠베게 냠네 야보지마도 바이나 아제다다 갈래 가기도 다지 용사 말에 진지야 지시되다 전지 레로 링으로와 되니 자디 도시네 용구래 진짜 되니 인자 교와 방바 쇠베 냠네 있고 그래 가서 야네 야도 쉐바다 양 가브릴이야 가제 셴나네 야기긴 베데야다 아다지 가서레 갈래 가로레 쉐콜 판도 민데 선배선데 쇠베니 마곰디 아니 바샤샤 용구래 되니 자다 쇠베 냠네지는 무뒤에시는 도시네 지체하게 쇠베니 강알에 맞은 바제 주시 쇠도 가지고 그래 해서지 대소 안 현지스 준비인데 지산 되니면은 시안리아 판도야 우주도 말해서지.
So sometimes the teacher may well experience some hardship when giving teachings, but when they do experience some kind of hardship, they should do, as it says here, they should never tire of explaining things over and over again, because over a period of time they may keep needing to come back to the same presentation, the same point, or on a particular occasion the students may be struggling to grasp a particular point, and therefore the same thing needs to be said again and again. But here, and in this way, if the teacher needs to be skillful, not to get frustrated, not to get bored, because this could lead to them giving up. So the solution is, here it's translated as, I think, forbearance, or bearing the hardship. So normally it's expressed as patience. So here, when one is never disheartened, the way one is never disheartened is through being patient. So here, these refer to difficulties that may come from the students, but may also arise from within. And the practice of patience is where the mind does not become disturbed, but rather one remains focused on the benefit of what one is engaging in. So patience is fortified by the previous quality of diligence or joyous perseverance, in that To the extent one takes delight in guiding others, when hardships arise, one will easily be able to transform those, as seeing this now as an opportunity to think of a different way to express what has just been expressed, for example. And moreover, patience is entwined with the previous quality of tenderness, loving. So love and compassion serves as a foundational basis for patience. So these qualities work together in ensuring that the teacher is always working for the welfare of their students and never feels disenchanted, never feels dispirited, and never feels like giving up.
Tabachimbi, Kiwo Sumya, Lamji Rimbi, Yamling Rimba, and the Gansachik, and Kiwo Sumya, Lamji Rimba, Yarimba, Nutriche, the Negi Kiwishin, Dungengeda, Sanje Salit, Goberge, Gober Chicken Kiwishin, Tabachimbi Kiwishin, Della, and Tingy Netemach Kuguri, Saja, all those Chene, and Suki, Tingy Judipa, Dushine, Tanka Javare. Tamo bana soso rana that dineki wasum ye lamye rimpigi anjige ya lamden chicken din tabachime kiwishin chewa sambaina and dineki kiju judi soso rana ya gyule temperche huri saje and then ngajele dana nibodi dusungor wada ngaj kiju rimbaros dinese and chigende dibado sinde varese.
We've now concluded looking at the 10 qualities of a Mahayana spiritual teacher, a teacher who's fully qualified to guide students across the trainings which are across the trainings associated with the 3 scopes or the different capacities of beings. So the way to relate to these 2 qualities is twofold. One, that understanding that these are the qualities that a Mahayana spiritual teacher requires. So thinking of outward. The second is to relate to ourselves, because as those who aspire to the paths of the Mahayana, there will be the time, whether in this or future lives, where that responsibility to help others will befall us. Or to express that differently, where the determination to benefit others will grow to the point where we are determined to guide others. And to be a skilled guide, a qualified guide of others, we need these same qualities as well. So this then is the second way to relate to these 10 qualities, that we should be striving right now to develop them within us, so that when the time comes for us to guide others in this or future lives, we have the required foundation. So therefore we take this as encouragement to develop these qualities within ourselves. The first 6 were those that one strives to develop within oneself through study and meditation. Then there's the second group of 4. These are expressions of the first 6 that have been developed within us. And they are presented specifically in relation to teaching, because many of these qualities one will develop anyway through one's own practice, but here they're presented in the way in relation to guiding others, to teaching others. First is being skilled in how one guides others, skilled in how one teaches others, expressed here as being eloquent. Moreover, those under one's care, one should have a loving and tender attitude towards them. Moreover, one should have a joyous perseverance in relation to guiding others, to teaching others. And then fourthly, one should have patience, again, in relation to guiding others and to teaching others. So the primary way to relate to this presentation is that these are the qualities that a Mahayana spiritual teacher requires, and and as us as aspirants for the paths of the Bodhisattva, these are the qualities we should be striving to develop within ourselves, so that we too can guide others, so that we can fulfill the responsibilities of the Bodhisattva, guiding others to their own liberation and enlightenment. So those are the 2 ways to generally take this topic. Furthermore, as was mentioned at the top of the page, with the quotations from Pungchuwa and Tashi, we should take inspiration in the biographies of the great masters, as well as inspiration from the beneficial activities of the great beings in our world today. And based on that, we should inspire aspire to emulate them, to develop ourselves, to emulate them. And to do so, we make the deep and heartfelt commitment that from now until we achieve our own enlightenment, from life to life, may I continue to always be under the direct care of fully qualified Mahayana spiritual teachers. May I always recognize them as such and following their guidance and cultivating their guidance within myself. In addition to this aspiration to continue to remain under the care of a fully qualified Mahayana spiritual teacher and cultivating their guidance within, also rejoice in the qualities of one's teacher and rejoice in the fact that one is under their care, that one has created these causes, and thereby adding to one's determination to continue to strengthen this connection through putting their advice into practice. To attain enlightenment, this comes about through one, under the guidance of one's teacher, training in the complete and correct sequence, developing all the various minds in the correct sequence, one upon the other, one strengthening the other. And in this way, we develop our mind into that eventually of a Buddha. And all these various stages of training that we are to embark on, these aren't complete strangers to us, in that we have imprints for all of them on our continuum. These are already there. If there were no imprints, what to do? But we have these imprints, which means that by following guidance repeatedly over a sustained period, these imprints will grow and strengthen. And these minds that sometimes arise will become ever more dominant within us. So, for example, everyone here has faith in their teachers. Everyone here has faith in Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha jewel. Everyone has faith in the qualities of the Dharma jewel. Everyone here has faith in the qualities of the Sangha jewel. And these are the imprints that we already have. Moreover, you all have imprints that there's something not quite right with everyday existence. To express it in Dharma language, that samsara is faulty. There is no lasting happiness to be found in samsara. So we all know there is something a bit off, something not quite right. There is a deeper understanding, a deeper reality. These are all imprints that we share. Moreover, we all have the wish to be freed of suffering. We all share this. So having these imprints, what we need to do is grow and strengthen them. Moreover, we all have imprints of generosity, and these we experience by the wish to help. This naturally arises within us, the wish to help others. These are imprints of generosity. Moreover, we all have imprints of ethical restraint, and we experience this by the wish not to harm others. Thirdly, we all have imprints of patience, of wanting to be harmonious with others. Likewise, we have imprints of joyous perseverance, taking delight in virtue. We have some degree of a concentrated mind, and also we have imprints of wisdom. In particular, the wisdom of understanding what is harmful behavior and what is beneficial behavior. So we have all these imprints. And therefore, we have a basis to grow and develop. If we didn't have these imprints, then we'd really be in trouble. But having them, all we need to do is take the guidance and follow it, because implementing the guidance we receive is the nourishing of these imprints, making them grow and flourish within them. And the way we experience ever stronger imprints is that those particular ways of thinking start to dominate us ever more, define us ever more. If the imprints are weak, very occasionally and needing strong conditions will they ripen. If the imprints are strong, they will ripen easily and abide long. And if they are particularly strong, they'll totally define who we are. So this is something to recognize. because it points to our remarkable potential that we all hold. So I encourage you to recognize this and rejoice in your good qualities. Because the purpose of rejoicing in your own good qualities is to recognize who you truly are and give you courage to develop yourself ever further. So thank you. Then we can conclude there for this morning. Thank you very much.